Your reaction to what we've just seen there from Patrick? Because, of course, it just shows how extensive this scourge is in northern France.
Absolutely. Well, Patrick and GB News deserve a huge amount of credit for busting the myth on the reality of this migrant crisis. It just shows what a farce our asylum system has become. There are violent, organised, serious criminals who are playing our system. They are making a lot of money on the backs of others to get into our country illegally. And it's not true to say that all of these people are vulnerable, persecuted individuals fleeing torture. No, what Patrick and you are all showing is that these are very determined, deliberate, and criminal people who are breaking our laws.
These are violent, aggressive young men. I mean, we know we haven't shown you the full details, but Patrick faced a lot of violence and a lot of personal threats, and is still doing so online. These are the people, the vulnerable young men of fighting age, I know it's a cliche now, but are coming into our country and being put in hotels like the one we've been discussing all week, like the one in Epping. Do you have sympathy for the people in Epping who are protesting outside the hotel?
These are gangsters. That was the word I was looking for. These are gangsters. That's what Patrick has kind of exposed. I do have sympathy for the people protesting. I was looking at the footage. A lot of them are mums and families, dads, children are really furious about what's happening in Epping, but it reflects a concern across the country. People are scared. People have had enough of illegal migrants breaking into our country and harming our women and girls and ruining our communities. And that's not racist. That is honesty.
Because that's the accusation. As soon as you say that we are protecting our women and girls, that's racist to say that.
Yeah, and that is a way to gaslight the British people and shut down the debate. That's what the lefty establishment wants us to do. They want to gag us into silence, but we need to keep standing up and calling out the truth. That's why, as long as it's peaceful, those protests should have the right to express their very legitimate concerns.
Nigel Farage said yesterday that Britain is on the brink of collapse, I think in part because of these protests we're seeing, in particular in Epping. Are you concerned about the level of violence we're seeing there? Have you condemned that? Will you condemn that violence, not just from counter-protesters, but also we're seeing people in masks throwing things at the police, some officers injured. Do you fear that could spread across the country?
Well, I think we are living in a bit of a tinderbox at the moment, and what happens is when fury and frustration spill over, people feel they need to take action, and so they will start with peaceful protests. But unfortunately, that can attract people who are not peaceful, and it can attract thugs, and then you get counter-protests, and then you get violence, and then you get an uncontrollable situation when it comes to civil disorder. That's criminal, and the police need to step in. But it's not a very it's not a very big step to take from one to the other. That's why we need to be very, very careful. That's why we need to get a grip on the migrant crisis. People have had enough. They're furious. They're feeling powerless. They're feeling insulted, and they want to take action. They feel like they're being ignored.
OK, Suella,